in Coach's Corner. I'm Rilee Stapleton here with Coach Gibbons for the boys basketball team. How you doing today, Coach?
Doing pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. So we're just going to jump right into it, talking about basketball team so far this year. You know, I'd say we've come a long way from the beginning of the year, but kind of from where we started to now going to the state playoffs, if you had to give the team a grade, what do you think it would be?
I think we're right at a B plus. You know, one of the things for this season is we've had an extremely tough schedule. If you look at, I think they had a power rating of the top schedules. I think we might have been 4 or 5 in difficult schedules in 5A. I think maybe 3 or 4 teams didn't make the playoffs off our schedule. Everybody else is in the playoffs in their particular classification. So I know that bodes well for us getting ready to go into the state playoffs.
And so this is your first year here coaching. If you had to give kind of yourself a grade as a coach, what would you give yourself?
Same thing I gave the guys. I mean, I'm not going to rank myself higher than what they did. I mean, I think we're all probably right at, you know, a B. I don't think we're an A because I think we could have done better. I could have done better throughout the course of the year. But I think as we progressed, I think you can see where this thing is headed as we really got ourselves healthy throughout the course of the year. I mean, obviously we started off 1-6 with the flu and everything else going wrong right early in the season, which happens when you take over a program. But I think we've really progressed up to this point.
So a lot of change, you know, is going to make it tough for anyone to turn something around in one season. But I think, you know, something that makes it even harder is having a new point guard, kind of running everything. So if you had to kind of just talk about Daryl from where he was game 1, now going into state playoffs, what have you seen with him?
It's funny because Daryl's had a really good season. He started off really well, and then he kind of hit a swoon, and then he's picked it back up coming down the stretch. I think the biggest thing is people really didn't know who he was early on, and so he kind of caught some teams off guard. And so as they adjusted their game plans for him, he had to adjust his game plan for that. I always tell guys that as you take over a different role, there'll be some ups and downs as you take that over. Being a starting point guard on a pretty good basketball team at a 5A level is difficult as he was coming from Eagles Landing Christian before that, where it's good competition, but quite not the same night in and night out.
Yeah, and obviously Jermaine was first team All-Region, Nate on the second team. Can you talk to me about just, you know, especially going into the state playoffs, having that front court duo?
They about in the same way that happened with Daryl. I think the same way it's happened for both Nate and Jermaine. I think they came out and all of a sudden they're playing really well, and all of a sudden teams adjust and they really are being double teamed a lot. Guys are being really physical, trying to take their post catches away. I thought that they've adjusted their games throughout the course of the season to play off of each other and play off of some other guys on our team. That they're now kind of getting into that role. I thought we had a solid showing in the region tournament, tough game against Jonesboro in that second game, but I think you're kind of seeing, especially kind of the second half of the Whitewater game, what they can potentially be going into the state playoffs.
And yeah, going into there's something, I brought this up to you multiple times because you talked about it. At the beginning of the year, you said, you know, the team needed to learn how to fight. They learned how to fight. Now they need to learn how to win. That was after the Fayette County game. And we talked about learning how to win after some of those close Griffin games. Going into the state playoffs, where do you think they stand as far as that goes?
Well, we learned to fight against all the guys throughout the course of the season, but I thought you saw that fight, especially in the Griffin game, to get into the state tournament. That's one of the toughest games that the young people can play because they know if they lose, they go home. The opposition knows if they win, they advance, and so it's a very tough game. I've been down maybe 7 or 9 points with 6 or 7 minutes to go on the clock in the fourth quarter, and you just saw those guys fight, and then you end up with a 5 or 6 point win to advance to the state tournament. So all that we had done in the first 24 games got us to that point with 7 minutes to go in the Griffin game to be able to get into the state tournament. So I think we progressed with that. Same thing against Jonesboro. We didn't play particularly well, but I thought we fought, and I thought it was, I call it a death match. I thought that both of us, after that game, both units were like, yo, that was a really tough game physically, and so I credited our guys after the game. I said, we didn't play particularly well offensively, but we fought and we gave ourselves a chance to win and just couldn't quite pull it out. And then in the third game against Whitewater, which was a huge game for them, and it was a big game for us as well, we come out, we're down 14-4 or something like that, and then we go on a run in the second half and win the game by 6 or 7 points. So all that we've done in the season got us to those 3 games right there. And so I would count the season as success from that standpoint. There's only 32 teams left in the season, and one of those 32 teams, so I feel good about that.
And so now I was looking at the state rankings of Max Preps for 5A. Statesboro was up there at 11, I believe that's who we have on Saturday. So, I mean, we played we're not, as you said, we have a hard schedule. We're not strangers to teams like that. I believe Jonesboro was ranked higher. Fayette County's up there.
Mhm.
Do you think they're ready for Statesboro?
I think we're ready. I mean, we've played everywhere possible. We played neutral site games. We played tough road games. So going to Statesboro, I mean, obviously, Coach Hill's been there for 40-plus years. They've had a good program over the years. I would expect it to be a hostile environment down there, but I think our guys are embracing the opportunity to go down there and do something big. Would be to go to a place like Statesboro and get a win in that first round of the state tournament. I think we're ready for it.
So the team here last year was able to make a run to the Elite Eight until we lost to Hiram. If this team is going to make a run, do you think there's one certain aspect of the team here that would propel you guys into those later rounds?
When you get into the state tournament, I don't think either team will be great offensively. I think our defense has been fantastic all year long. I think we've held some of the top scoring teams way below their numbers. So I feel comfortable defensively. If I was going to say we're going to make a great run, we're going to need to shoot the basketball a little bit better. But I think our guys will. I mean, we don't talk a lot about made or missed shots. We just talk about continue to shoot the right shots. And I think we're kind of morphing in the last few days of practice and then leading up into the region tournament. I'm seeing some guys really finding their rhythm and their range a little bit. And so hopefully that'll all come together starting on Saturday night.
And I know, especially as you were saying, you don't care about made or missed shots, just shoot it. I've seen that especially with Nick this year. We'll go through slumps, and after every shot he misses, you just say keep shooting. And then he has moments like against Griffin where he scores, he has 3 straight threes. What are you telling shooters like Nick and Wes and those guys? If you say you need more shooting, what are you telling them going into this game?
Guys, if you're open and it's the right shot, it's the right rhythm shot, man, take the shot. Take the shot. I tell the guys all the time, when you pass up on opportunities when shots are open, basketball is a game which is very much like soccer. When you have certain movements out there on the floor that you have to take certain shots. Whether those shots go in or not, we hope that they do, but you have to take the right shots. If you don't take the right shots, then we're probably going to end up with a bad shot. If you look at the numbers, when guys are open, they take the right shots, we shoot pretty good percentages. So if guys are turning down because they miss 1 or 2 shots, I have to continue to build their confidence because, hey, it's not going to go in if we don't shoot it. So we got to be able to shoot it. And then I think as they find more comfort, These are our guys are all new. Hats off to last year's team. They had 10 seniors on that team. Mm-hmm. So this is a new guy. So Wes and Nick, those guys that shoot the basketball. Reese, those guys have never been in these situations and in pressure-packed games. And so it's been new to them. So it's been a great learning curve through the first 24 games of the year to get to this point where I feel like they are comfortable enough to make shots in state tournament.
And before you were at FAU, I believe you were the girls coach in Morgan County. Is that correct?
I coached boys and girls, but then I finished as only boys coach there in Morgan County.
Did you win a state championship with the girls team?
I won a state championship with the boys team.
Boys team?
Yeah, we won a state championship with the boys team, and then the girls team that I had ended up winning it 2 years later.
Yeah, I knew you had a state championship somewhere, so I kind of just wanted to ask, having gone through that, what does it take to win, to get to that final game and win it?
What you've done all year long. I don't, they talk about teams get hot and all that stuff. Well, that team that probably got hot has been working to get hot to that point. I think a lot of it is belief system, believing that when it's a 5-point game with 2 minutes to go, that you can finish that game. Whether you're up 5 and got to make free throws, or you're down 5 and got to make some shots. One of the things I give that group of guys that I had in Morgan County credit for is they were an extremely mentally tough group of guys. Like they never looked at any situation that they couldn't figure out a way to come out on top. We're not quite as mentally tough as that group, but I think we're working to that. But that was a 3 or 4 year deal. I mean, those guys didn't just wake up in 1 year like state championship. We lost the year before in the round of 16. The year before that, we lost in the round of 8. So it was a progressive build up. Getting there, and it was the same group of guys together for 3 years. So that part of it was a little different. This is a whole new group as we've all come together. And that's why I said I'm pleased with what we've done. And I think what we've done has given us a chance to be able to go on the road and play some good basketball and have a chance in the state tournament.
And so you say, it's 3 or 4 years, you guys had to build up to that. We have some young pieces, Darryl, West, Jermaine, 3 guys that have started some games that will be back next year. How do you make sure they soak up everything they can from their first state playoff experience here?
So I think the players soak up the experience when they realize that every time it's another level. It was another level when we went from the non-conference to the conference play. And then you get later in the conference play, you get into the region tournament. And so one of the things I've watched with our practices is every time we're stepping up the level of play with the game, our practice level is picked up. And so if they understand that at the end of this year, the way we're practicing right now is the way we have to start next season with our intensity practicing, I think you end up with a more consistent season throughout the course of the year. So that's what I want these guys to soak up, is how they've elevated their practices up to this point, last night and the night before, just great practices, high intense deals. And I think that if we can capture that and take that into the off-season workouts, into the summers, into next preseason, and into the year, I think you'll really see that this year had a lot of value for our program.
All right. Thank you. That's all I have. Is there anything else you want to add?
Nah, hey, go Panthers.
Yeah, go Panthers always. Good luck in the state playoffs.
All right.
Make sure you
Appreciate
guys go out and support the team, and thank you guys for listening.